we got a fixture of super strong grandmasters playing for our delightment. They are supposed to be starting like in 3 minutes. We can see this on the screen. We're gonna watch the games for a while together, live. No engine, no eval bar, no nothing apart from our own minds. And I'd like you guys to do similarly if you can. Let me refresh the page for the TikTok chat tab and stuff. Okay, I guess that should be in order now. And yeah, any minute now. Well, 2 minutes, not any minute. But you've got the necessary time to log in and let's do this. So the this evening, round number 8, we'll have Abdu playing Alireza. Uzbekistan, yeah, that's for Uzbekistan. Nodibek, of course. Prague, Wesley. Sam with Yandura, MVL, Fabi. They're gonna be a nice one. And Gukesh Levon. Now, on the first place, just after 7 rounds, is Fabi. 4.5. You can read it yourselves. Prague and Levon third. So, how many more rounds available? Today and tomorrow, by the looks of it, 27th August. So they're going to be playing tomorrow as well, the last one. And yeah, looking good. Round number 7, yes, and round number 8. Okay, boards in 1 minute. Okie dokie. You could tell me, guys, who you're rooting for. I'm very happy to see that Fabi actually plays incredibly well and he's in very good shape. And also Prague. Prague is, as I said on a few occasions, seems to be the real deal. And he might be a future World Chess Champion. Of course, he wants to. And he can. He can definitely deliver. Not so optimistic in this tournament, at least. Nodibek Abdustorov. I think he is the last currently. It doesn't mean he can't play good from now on, but I mean it's not too many rounds left anyway. It's this evening and tomorrow, as per the GMT. So 6:30, right? Okay. I hope they start on time. 50 seconds or something. So yeah, so round number 8, and then tomorrow 6:30 p.m. round number 9. And leaderboard again. Yeah, Nodibek is on the last place, on the 10th place. Ali Reza got a little bit hammered. Guki not very lucky. And yeah, so Fabi, Prague, and Levon are the first 3. Have they started? Not yet. So we're gonna peruse through the games. So let's see what Gukesh plays this evening versus Levon. All games are incredibly tough. There's no easy game. It can't be any easy game. Those guys are super grandmasters, every single one of them, and matches would be very difficult for anybody. So hello to my TikTokers, YouTubers, Facebookers. Which one is it? Kick.coms. Did I say Twitch? No, I didn't, so I say it now. I'm multi-broadcasting. So for the time being, we got 5 destinations, and okay. So decided to go with the T this evening. But yeah, it might have been better if I had a can of those energy drinks. Seems to be delivering a bit more. Anyway, we'll do the tea for now. We'll do the tea. No move? Do we have time for a quick puzzle? I wonder. Well, let's just do it. Let me see first thing first if you guys see what I'm seeing. Yes, you do. We play with the whites. What is this? Okay, can we do this? Just asking for a friend. Bishop f6 attacks queen, attacks the rook. Queen defends the bishop and stuff. I guess. Is there something else? Seems to be normal, right? Bishop f6. Is it that bad, bishop f6? How bad is it? Am I missing something? Is there something stronger? Let me see. Should I attack the queen with rook e1? I don't know. Should I? I don't see any other attacking lines or anything. Bishop f6 seems to be. Bishop f6, queen has to go somewhere, I think, right? And then we're going to take the rook, and we're going to end up with more material. Could be something else than bishop f6, really. I'm going to play it. Oh, there is something else, actually. I mean, this is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Bishop f6, and they just said no. No, sir, that is not. Is it rook just to making queen go like... Why, to play this and that, or what? Or is it this? Ah, this is actually forcing, dude. It's queen f6 because this is forcing. Queen f6 forces them to. This is... No. Jesus Christ. Now that's very surprising. Is it rook c? I'm not sure. Bishop f6, no. Queen f6, no. Well, queen f6... What the heck is going on here? Rook takes? Why? What is that? Rook c? Oh. Bishop f4. But what's wrong with bishop f6, by the way? So bishop f4, fine, I understand. I mean, makes sense. Absolutely. But what's wrong with bishop f6? I mean, what is wrong with bishop f6? Oh, come on. Shall we find out, though? I'm a little bit intrigued. Okay, let's see how awful. What was the defense? Queen h5 is the defense. Queen h5. And they still have queen and two rooks. So the queen moves whatever the queen moves. But I'll take, right? So yeah, queen takes, and that's about it. There's like a tons of extra pawns. So the only way to play this is bishop f4, guaranteed you take the rook on c7. Bishop f6 is not the stuff. What's this thing? I should put the phone down until I'm getting a ring or something, because I can't do 2 or 3 things at once. Okay, back to the broadcasts. Watch now, broadcasts. Sinquefield Cup as we advertised. Ta-da! Let's see now. So you guys see it? Yes, you do. These are live games. Oopsie daisy. That was from the puzzle. Refresh the page. Refresh the page. Back to business. Owen defense? Nimzo? Owen? Let me just look to the opening explorer and stuff. Queen's India, Fianchetto, Nimzo. Okay. Okay. Well, I guess you could play Queen C2. Oopsie. I guess you could play Queen C2. Makes sense. And then you're going to do Bishop G2. I don't think you want to play E3, right? It just doesn't make any sense. Because, I mean, if you play G3, you play G3 in order to play Bishop G2. So, all in all, Queen C2. Queen C2, Knight C3 and stuff. Okay. Let's see what happens. If there is a Knight C3, very likely black going to play Bishop B4. That's what happens in the Nimzo. So now we're going to go to the first board, Alireza Nodibek. Nodibek is the last one until now. He's on the last place. And Alireza right after them. Right after him. Okay. Black to play here. Knight f6. Bishop g4, bishop f5, castles. Or do you play e5? Just making sure you took a lot of space. You claim the space in the center, but if you go e5 for the black pawn on e7, you kind of give up on this guy. I mean, medium long term, but you can't have them all. I guess you can play. I don't see what's wrong with this. White at castle. Black has to figure out a way to castle, securing the king. Wesley, Prague. Prague with white and Wesley. Now that's something to look at. This is something to look at. They already played 13 moves. Let me go back to the beginning. Okay, they started as a Gioco piano. Knight f6. Ooh, yo, 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 look at this. Knight to g5. Dios mio, man. That asks for d5, the only move to play. The only theoretical move for black to play here is d5. There is no other. d5 takes, knight a5, bishop b, check, c6. Takes. Bishop d3. That's how they played it. Yeah, he could have played bishop e2. That would have been an option. But bishop d3, and now knight to d5 by Wesley. Queen now hits the knight, so you can't just ignore that. You got to do something. And the knight to f3. Bishop d6, continuing with the development. Castle short. Knight to f4, attacking the bishop on d3. Knight c3, takes and takes. Castle short. Knight to e5, that's what the guys played. Bishop c7, move the bishop away. He still wants to keep the bishop on the board here. Queen to c2. Yeah, knight has to stay here to defend this guy. c5, try to probably create some ideas with bishop to b7. But let's see what black decides to play here. I'm as curious as you guys. Oops, that doesn't mean it happened. It was a little bit of a mouse slip. Okay. Can you play this? Can you play bishop b6? No, he played bishop a6. Notice that there is actually a double attack on d3. The bishop together with the queen. So d3 under pressure. You could take with the bishop, of course. You won't take with the queen because the white queen takes on c7, right? So you can't just move the queen to d3. Or maybe you kind of can, given the fact you're threatening a checkmate on f1. That's crazy, isn't it? Oh, man. So, I mean, if black were to capture d3, you don't even have to bother about defending the bishop on c7, because if they took it, you actually have queen to f1 checkmate. How crazy this is. I think that's a little bit exciting. A little bit, not too much exciting. But I think it's a good start. What move would that be? Move number 15. Oops. Move number 15. I like it. I think this game is fabulous. I think this game is amazing. Wesley, black, Prague, white here. Rook f to e. That is, now if they take, you could safely go and grab the bishop because there is no checkmate. The rook had just moved. So it doesn't work. But what it does work, I mean, if they want to take with a bishop, they can. They sort of can. Unless you want to do something else. Like maybe rook a c8, aligning the black rook with the queen or something. And then playing something like this. Looks quite dangerous. Do you know what's interesting? Hello, Stephen. How's it going, brother? Oh, absolutely. I'd go with blacks here any day. I'd rather be black here than white because those bishops are killing everything. And the main problem number one for Pragnananda Ramesh Babu is the double pawns, exactly as you said, Stephen, and the fact that the pawn on d2 doesn't move. The pawn on b2 hadn't been moved either. So there is a problem with the development. Now, if you play bishop b6, this is a move, a strong move looks to me, a very strong move with tempo. You sort of kind of like lose e5, right? But then again, can't just black throw a Rook. I mean, that looks quite dangerous. I think the attack is super strong. Again, if you give me a choice here, I'd rather have the black pieces because I'm faster developed. My pieces are more active, whereas the white pieces are not. Namely, the bishop on c1 is suffering terribly. I guess you guys would agree on this. Hello, Ethan. Oh no, I've got some other guys on other platform. Just saying my TikToker friend that joined us. So Ethan, I've got a bunch of guys on other platforms because I'm multi-broadcasting. You might be the only one on TikTok, but I've got another friend on Twitch. And I might got a couple of guys on YouTube as well. So not quite just two, but hey, you're probably close to the correct number. So bishop d3, as we said, makes sense. Took a pawn. But would you really make a trade now? Bishop takes. Really? That bishop is so strong. Why would I take this guy? And the last move, Stephen, that white played b2 to b3 is actually preparing the fianchetto with the bishop b2. So it's not quite clear. I think probably you got to figure out a way to kick that white queen away. Question is, like how? Like how? How do you make the white queen to leave the 5th rank? How do you attack the queen though? You see, if you go with the rook, the a7 is hanging. Oops. So if you do this, the a7 is hanging. If you do this, I guess you're still going to have bishop b2 double attack here. If you play bishop b6 now, queen takes c5, it's an idea. And then bishop b2 might be some checkmate threat on g7. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. Thanks very much. I appreciate you, appreciate my dedication. First thing first, I enjoy playing chess very much and discussing the ideas with everybody. So I think it's sort of like pro bono publico, and some guys really might be finding it useful. And it's a very cool thing to actually discover that some of the moves that you think for yourself, assuming you're not using the engine and the Valbar, you may find it quite cool that you manage to actually think the ideas that they think and they get to play. So I think that's quite rewarding. So to not using the engine during the live games you're covering. So yeah, thanks for stopping by, brother. Sam White and Yanduda Black here. Hey, this guy's gonna play like for 1,000 years. If I may say that. E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, bishop C4. The Gioco piano again, bishop C5. They were here. D3. Yeah, that's gonna be a long game. A4. Pfft. Okay. D6. Just saying. A5. Probably they both theoretical. D6. Yeah, okay, D5. More aggressive. Actually attacks the bishop. So white has to react to this. They haven't castled yet, so you can't just say bishop b3, right? Because if the guy takes and you take back, then queen takes. Not the end of the world, but actually it's kind of bad. Because when you take here, then the bishop takes f2. So they had to take. So it's just explanation why taking on d5 was necessary. So knight to d5 now being played. This guy is free to go. Probably Jan Duda wants to make a pin. Bishop g4, very likely. Unless white is playing prophylactically, just plays an h3. It could be an h3. I would do an h3 here. Unless there is something I'm missing, I would do an h3. Because the pin is very annoying. I mean, you might be able to play knight b1 d2, but still, a pin is a pin. Maybe you don't want to. Well, we can debate this. Fabien VL. What did the guys play? So, guys, I'm going to go quickly. Aha, that's the Spanish opening. or the Ruy Lopez you could take, or go a4, of course. a4, castles, bishop c5, c3. Ready to play some d4 at some point. d4, there you go, exactly as we said. Bang, goes back, takes on e4. Queen now nicely attacks the knight. Beautiful. Knight goes and attacks the bishop on a4. Bishop c2. That's beautiful. Look at this. Queen d1. Takes en passant. Queen takes. Queen takes. Pawn takes. A little bit of a weakness for black, if you guys agree. The weakness for black, I think, is the isolated black pawn on d6. So this black pawn is the weakness here. And I guess MVL is going to focus his attack on that black pawn on d6. So that's a weakness for black. Black needs to develop also the bishop on c8. They might play bishop g4 or something. I don't think it's wrong. Then you get to play your own bishop. Where? You could go e3, you could go g5. Then you have to play this guy somewhere. But first, I guess you have to take the bishop in the game. I mean, the bishop on c1, and then you're going to develop the knight on b1, I think. All in all, the pawn on d6 is the weakness here. And again, back to Gukesh and Levon here. Let's see what the guys played. And in this Nimzo, bishop a6, b3. I think I said that one, b3, because you defend c4, and you yourself can do this. Bishop b2, I mean. d5, bishop g2, getting the bishop on the same diagonal with the black rook. Check, non-negotiable. You either block or move away. It's good to block, though. Black's turn to play. Now, black and castle. Makes sense. But when you castle, you're probably going to have some e3 happening. And then you have to take a decision. What do you do with the bishop on b4? Do you take or do you go e7 or something? Or d6 maybe? One of these. Yes. All right, fellas. So far, so good. Levon's turn. Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on this game as well. They just started a couple of minutes ago, like 9-10 minutes. No, I'm wrong. 18 minutes already. 18 minutes. But, okay. Alireza Nodibek. Bishop f4. Knight to d4. What does white play? What can you play here? So, what happens if white takes? Well, for a starter, the pawn takes. And they attack your knight. Then you could play knight b5. I don't know what's the theory here, because I don't play this. But I'm just trying to think about it. What do you play? Is bishop e5 a move? Maybe not. Or maybe yes. You would like to get rid of the bishop on g7. So maybe bishop e5. Can you do e3 or just... Hello, Mr. Soul and Funk. Tell me, what does white play here, you think? What does white play here? Do you play bishop e5 or do you play e3? What would you play if you had the white pieces? Thanks for the like, follow, subscribe, people. Thank you, ladies and gents, for any act of staying in touch and following the stream. Appreciate. So you guys tell me what's the theory here, or if you play this, or if you have some other ideas. I guess you could take pawn takes, and then you're going to play knight b5. You're going to take that guy back, right? Knight b5 seeming... knight b5 right now. Yeah, I guess you can. Maybe a bit too overstretched. No, actually kind of good. Knight b5, knight takes, pawn takes. I don't see anything wrong, maybe? Hey, that's the move I said. I did say bishop e5, and now I'm going to explain, Stephen, why I think bishop e5 is a cool move. I'm going to explain what I said already previously. What I like about bishop e5. Now look, black just went back. Are they going to play now? So I'm going to explain a little bit the idea with the bishop e5. I'm pretty sure most of you got it. Bishop e5 does very important stuff here. Wants to say this knight on f6 is not going to move, or if they're going to move, I'm going to take the king's defender. So that's a subtlety. And black actually played knight c6. That is Ali Reza. And the bishop, oh, the bishop went back. So is the boys going to do like a draw now? Because looks to me twofold repetition already. So Mr. Solen Funk, my primary advice for all of our friends, younger or, at the beginning of the stream career, can this be considered a career? I don't know. But first and foremost, you have to be completely in love with the domain you've chosen to do. So you've got to love what you're doing. If it's chess or whatever the stuff you want to propose to your viewers, whatever that is, I don't know what kind of game or podcast or things you want to do. So you have to absolutely love the stuff you do. That is number one. Without that one, don't even start. You're going to waste your time. Don't do it. If you don't love it, don't do it. So you have to like it because that's the prerequisite, the number one ingredient. So also, I would say number two, you have to also enjoy interacting with your virtual friends about the stuff you do. That's another thing. Because if you like a sort of misanthropist, you don't like people very much and don't relate with people, probably it's not going to work out. Probably, I'm saying. I mean, I'm saying this as a chess coach and for beginners and intermediates. And I think it's quite important to relate to your viewers, to your friends that might be joining your stream. So these are two things. Then, if you really want to invest a little bit, get yourself a software stream that allows you to multi-broadcast. So that would be number 3 piece of advice. There is a couple of out there. You may use OBS, which is free, and it's great. I'm using it right now. And then you could buy yourself a subscription that allows you a minimum of 5 destinations. So you could go at the same time on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, you name it, kick.com, whatever you want to use. So that will be number 3 piece of advice. I mean, you asked me, I answered. That's what I would think would be useful. And I'm going to think about number 4, number 5, if there's any. But those 3, I think, are important for you. For anybody, really. For anybody. Oh, yeah, number 4 would be like consistency. Like if you do it once every 6 months, I don't think it's gonna work out. If you do it, once quarterly or every 3 months, one live stream, again, don't waste your time. You've got to do like 2-3 times a week, maybe, whenever you got some time. If you do not have time, then just upload some videos. Just do some TikTok, YouTube archive and upload the videos. And that's that. But as per the stream, you kind of keep your friends, in the loop. You have to be connected with your dear friends. Yeah, chess coaching. And just a couple of days and we restart the primary school chess clubs after school clubs, breakfast clubs, lunch chess club, of course. So these are the advices. I mean, you asked and I answered if I knew something about. So that's Nodibek Alireza. We'll see about this one. If actually Nodibek now goes with bishop e5, I've got a feeling Alireza are going to go back on knight c6 and there will be threefold repetition. I think actually now Nodibek has the choice to determine the outcome of the game. I think the two young players are not really in the mood to do anything because they're already on the last places. Both of them. I think Nordibek is the last one. And Alireza right next to, So Alireza came ninth, and Nodibek is is the last one. So they have no motivation, so to speak. They don't want to lose, of course, but I think they will go with the draw and just do something else. Anyway, I might be wrong. We'll see about that. But if Nodibek wants to repeat stuff, he just needs to go bishop e5 now, and the other guy knight c6, and I think we got a threefold. Prague and Wesley. Now that's totally different business. Probably the most beautiful game this evening, round number 8. Bishop takes d3, b3 in order to get bishop to b2 and attack this guy twice. 3 times though. Pardon me, 3 times. Rook, we said that, I said that. I said rook fe, that makes sense. Do a little bit of defending the e5. That's an important pawn. You don't want to drop that guy. And there's a bit more. After rook fe8, black is actually able to play bishop b6 and attacking the queen and attacking f2 in principle. You attack the queen with tempo though. I think that's important. So that definitely allows bishop b6. And now you got to figure out what you do with the black knight on a5 too. Oh man, maybe. All right. So, okay, thanks for your offers, but if you want to sell stuff, I'm not buying it now. I'm not buying anything. I'm only doing chess and that's that. So, wishing you all the best, man. Oh boy. Animations. I don't do no bloody animations. Bishop b6. Yeah, that might be the case. Bishop b6, bishop b2 and stuff. Sami and Dura. a6. Castle short. Yeah, and do that's play now. Are you going to develop that bishop on c8 or not? Castle short. The young Polish super grandmaster spends a little bit of time here. Bishop g4. What's wrong with bishop g4? What is wrong with bishop g4? Yeah, I think my viewers couldn't give a damn about animations. My viewers are the best viewers in the world. They are only interested in ideas. They're the most inquisitive and the best audience on the planet. They're not superficial guys. They don't care about animations. Sorry, I'm a disappointment again for another digital creator. Well, knight b1 d2. Well, he developed the knight. Knight b1 d2. That's developing. Can't be bad. Black's to play. The rook needs a bit developing here. Maybe semi-open file somewhere? You need a rook. Do you want to play something else? Something else like what? Nah, if you play actually the rook, you know what's funny stuff? That's a blunder. Jesus. If you play this kind of stuff, might be a blunder because of the b4. Now you tell me, what do you play? You just lost the bishop's protection. So that's a blunder. I think rook c, or whatever you want to move the black rook on a8, jeopardizes the bishop on a7, which would be captured straight away. So that's a problem for that bishop. So you can't play the rook. Or you want to just play the knight now. But the question is where? Like e6? Well, let's assume the bishop takes, rook takes. Then you're going to push b5 and then do some battery somewhere. Yeah, I guess. But it requires a little bit of analysis here. So I guess you could play knight e6. If bishop takes, rook takes. And black is going to play b7 to b5, then getting rook on the d or c file. We can discuss this. The weakness for black is the d pawn. The weakness for white is the f3, maybe double pawns on the f file. How do you get to attack him? And white enjoys the bishop pair. Yeah. After all, exchanging this bishop is not a bad idea, I think, for black. Unless maybe there's something more active. Would you take rook fe? Sorry, rook fd? Maybe. Maybe rook fd. Maybe knight e6. And exactly this is the reason why the chess players run out of time, although they start with the 90 minutes each, you know. Guki and Levon. So, blocking the check. c5, very aggressive Levon this evening. He's always aggressive. Levon, always aggressive. Bishop b2, makes sense, of course. And now black could castle, or could develop the knight on b8, maybe. Where do you develop the knight? Where do you develop the knight? You go knight bd7, or you go knight c6? Or do you castle? Well, let me know your thoughts. I'll take it from there. Jonathan, my FIDE Blitz 1822, played 2 years ago. My Blitz OTB. Knight c6, knight c6, knight b8, d7, perhaps. Perhaps. If there's any a3, bishop's gonna take, obviously. Then white's gonna take with this guy. And for this reason, maybe knight c6 is not that good. Actually, this is getting quite funky now. This is interesting. We're going to watch this one closely. Did you notice, guys? If bishop takes d2, and if white takes with knight on f3 on d2, all of a sudden, this guy becomes incredibly active. Yeah, you could drop the bishop on b7, but just saying, there is already a lot of subtleties here. That is move number 8. Well, if these guys don't know the Nimzo, I don't know who else knows it better than them. And still, they do not rush it. They don't play fast moves. They think again. They check again and again and again. Yeah. So, on the other hand, can you not develop the knight on b8? And if you develop it, I guess you go knight d7. Should you play queen c8? But it feels weird, queen c8. You know why? Because if you do queen c8, white's going to play some rook ac. I don't think you're comfortable with this. So maybe not queen c8 because of the rook ac1. Knight bd7. Still, knight bd7. What else? Knight bd7. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Nordibek, Firouzja. Whoa. How much time did this guy spend here? He don't want to play bishop b5? What's he doing? Nordibek. What is he doing? Just bishop b5, knight c6, and let's call it a day. That would be the draw of the day. The boys don't want to fight no more. They got no motivation. They are the last now, so there's no motivation for the young wolves. They should have been first, but it's very difficult to deal with the others, eh? Let's go quickly to Fabi. Actually, Fabi is killing all. Fabi super danger. Wait a minute. Takes. Pin. Yeah, I did say about this pin some time ago. Bishop b3, yeah. Bishop takes. Double pawns, okay. Pawn goes. Knight d2. Knight e6, yes. Knight e6, there you go. So I don't know if our friend Stephen is still here, but I did discuss at length. I mean, like about 3-4 minutes. I discussed it in depth, like 2-3 minutes. And I did say 96. I did say 96. I did. Absolutely, I did. Knight b3. So white didn't take on a7. He developed. Because that might be a little bit of a now post here. Knight e4 is on the outpost. There is no pawn to frustrate the knight. If they take or not, that's up to black to decide, to Fabi, so to speak. So we'll see about that. He wants to fix this pawn as a weakness. So we're going to come back at this game sometime in the future. And probably we're going to witness how the game will be decided by the fact that white's going to concentrate all his attack on the black pawn on d5. So pieces disappear. Let's put it this way. Let's say all the minor pieces disappear. Let's just say white is going to play a rook to d4, the other rook on d1. Black will have to defend with both rooks to keep the pawn alive. And there's going to be a race. Whoever king gets closer to add an extra pressure on that pawn or something. And there is always tactics like you push to c4, and if they take, you're going to win the exchange and stuff. So medium long term, the knights and the bishops disappear. Then you get your rook battery on the d and see if you could do something about that pawn. There is nothing else. I guess queens no more queens. Unless the other, I mean, what else do you play? Black stood playing. I think you take. Yeah, but if you take, actually that helps white because all of a sudden the double pawns are connected. So let's explain this again. If the bishop on a7 takes on e3, so if you take, white takes back 100%. They take back with f. So white will have to connected white pawns all of a sudden. So that strengthens white very much, very much. So MVL would say merci beaucoup. I heard he is French, so that's what would he say, that's what would say. If you could hear him, he would say merci beaucoup, mon ami. I don't know if they're friends or nothing, but just saying, that's what he would say. I'd imagine, or mon frère. I don't know how he speaks. Gukesh white, Levon black. Okay, of course. c5, very sharp, very sharp. Bishop b2, knight c6. So you have to develop stuff. Now I'm going to tell you my old plan here was a3. I would plan on doing a3 for a couple of reasons. The first reason is I'm forcing black to do the trade. Do I force them? Can they go a5? Assuming they take the knight, let's just put it this way. You do a3. If black takes d2, you're going to take back with the knight on f3. Now with the queen, with the knight, which gets the bishop on j2 super active, given the tension in between the two white pawns, c4 to d5. Also, your knight on f3 that goes to d2 reinforces c4 like twice. They attack twice anyway. But it's complicated. It's complicated. It's complicated because white hasn't castled. Black hasn't castled either, so it goes both ways. What can I say? a3 is definitely tempting. If you want to play aggressive, I guess you should do a3. If you really want to play aggressive, and also if you want to open up the bishop on g2, you might have a chance. So the question is, what does white play after, say, bishop b4 goes to a5 rather than taking your knight on d2? So that's another question. You play a3 and then they go a5. You can't really do b4, can you? Not, because black is having two defenses on that square. So you can't do this. Difficult, complicated. You could do a3, and after bishop a5, you just castle. And I guess black's going to castle too. And you just play. Let's see what happens in the end. Right? What do you think, guys? Thank you, my TikTokers, for joining this stream, guys. Thanks for the like, follow, subscribe. That is greatly appreciated. No debate, Ali Reza. Rook. Okay, so Abdul doesn't want to draw this evening. He doesn't want to draw. Therefore, he played rook f to e1. What does that mean? Well, he doesn't want to repeat the stuff with bishop e5. Not that that's a bad idea. Hello, Mr. For Life, number 4. Well, welcome then. I hope you enjoy the game of chess and you enjoy watching the super grandmasters producing these ideas. So, rook fe1 can't be bad, can it? You want to go like, nah, rook fe. Well, it can't be a bad idea to get the rook from f to e. You definitely want to play e4. Or you want to play e3. This knight is quite annoying because it takes c2 and it takes b3 from the queen. So this knight on d4, I don't think Nordibek is very comfortable with that black knight. I wouldn't be comfortable. So maybe a3 would be an option. It's Blackstone anyway. What is my LO? What is my LO? 1822, the Blitz. So this knight is way too problematic. Way too problematic. You can't do this with the queen. So maybe e3, but it's Blackstone's play. So what do you play with the bishop? Do you go bishop e6? I mean, I don't know. Bishop e6, bishop g4, bishop f5. Is bishop f5 that bad? It's still this. So that's a thing for Ali Reza now. How is he going to develop that bishop when, where? Because b7 is a weak square. Actually, this is the problem for black. And you can't do queen c7 because there is a bishop there. Can you do queen b6? Maybe knight a4? So all of a sudden it's not that great anymore. Can you do knight h5? Reason being you try to get rid of the bishop on f4. So let me just put it this. Let's say black plays knight h5. Knight h5 wants to eliminate this bishop on f4, which is incredibly strong. So knight h5 challenges the bishop on f4. I mean, they have to leave that diagonal. It's too much. And knight h5 also enables the bishop on g7 a bit more. And then black can consider what to do with the bishop on c8, perhaps. Nordibek, Ali Reza. It's an idea. Wesley Prague. Where were we, fellas? Hold on a second. This is the most exciting game of the evening. b3, rook fe. Bishop a3. He didn't play bishop b2. He played bishop a3. I think I might know why. Wait a minute. Well, okay, this diagonal is important too. Does he want to play this? Oops, like knight d6. And if the guy takes, you take again with the queen. If queen takes, bishop takes, double attack on. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Does he want to do something else? I mean, I don't say that's a bad diagonal. That's a very good diagonal. Can they do this? Maybe not. Because queen d6, queen takes, knight takes. Yeah, maybe. Difficult. But bishop b6, queen to c3, bishop takes, rook takes e4. Triple attack on this pawn here. Triple attack. Rook c8 attacks the queen on c3. Queen b4. Move the queen to safety. And now white has a backward pawn here. It is defended, But it's worth noting. It does matter. So that pawn is a bit of a liability. The d2 white pawn. Defended by knight and queen, attacked only by the queen, but there is a weakness there. There is a weakness, indeed. What else? We might see some rook battery, but after f6, what? Maybe you want to push this pawn though. Maybe you want to play d4 after you make a battery, because if they take, practically you take the rook and you win the queen. So that might be a plan. Maybe. Sort of. Maybe. It's not very clear. In principle, I think you want to do the battery, right? But yeah, you want to do the battery. Wesley spends a little bit of time. 1 hour, 7 minutes. Okay. They're still thinking about it. Sam and Ian Duda. E6. Okay. Castles, bishop f5. My God, what did Ian Duda do? I mean, the guy spent a lot of time. A lot. Okay. Rook fe? Just to attack something. Just to attack something. Can I do bishop g5? Just to see if black actually plays f6, because that would be a problem for them. So maybe bishop g5 and see what they do. As long as you attack, can't be bad. As long as you make your opponent to consider bad moves that will be worsening their position, that probably is not very bad. So you could play bishop g5 just to probe your opponent's intention about the queen. Just attack the queen and see afterwards what happens. Bishop g5 and let them decide. I don't think that's a bad idea, bishop g5. You develop a tempo, you attack the queen. If black plays f6, that's bad for them. You're going to drop bishop to d2, I guess, but they have a weakness here. That is why I think bishop g5 may not be very bad after all. May not be very bad. Hey, whoa. Yeah, rook fe1. I did say rook fe1. I absolutely did say. I think that was the last move I said, rook fe1. I absolutely did. Fabi MVL. What did the guys do here? Oh yeah, they did many things anyway. So there's already some alignment with the pawn on d5. There's already something going on there. Is this going to be a draw? I don't know. I don't know. Rook e1. So why didn't he play rook a d1? Just asking. Why didn't he do the battery here? Is there a problem with this? How is this a problem? You know, I thought the normal thing to do, as soon as you get a rook on the second rank, the normal idea would be to continue with the other rook making a battery on the d file. But he played rook a e1. So you play rook a d, and if black takes, you're going to take back with the f pawn. And don't allow any knight, anything. Can't be bad, but anyway. MVL played rook a e1. Well, okay then. Look at the other rook. Rook d8. I don't know what you're playing. Do you want to play this? So if the guy takes, you're going to take back with the bishop. And if the bishop takes, you're going to take back with the rook, still attacking the knight. But the knight then goes f5. Complicated, isn't it? Of course it's complicated. Not clear. Wait a minute. Bishop b2. Takes on c5. Takes on c5. So he didn't play a3. He took. Which, in essence, makes the bishop on b2 incredibly dangerous for black. So that bishop is dangerous. And now black takes. Well, again, if a3, black is going to play bishop a5 or takes. I don't know which way it's going to go. I'm not sure. If I was black, I'd just simply keep the pin. Just keep the pin, I guess. But that's a thing for black to be careful with. That is definitely a thing. Anyway. And also there is another diagonal here. And what makes it interesting is that none of them castle the king. Did you guys notice? They haven't castled. Neither Gukesh nor Levon. No castling until now. The bishops are cruising and X-raying everything here. A3, there you go. Oof, man, I've spoken about A3. I got dizzy about explaining A3. Yeah, of course A3. My God, I spoke about A3 so much. There you go, A3. Yeah, we don't need no engines to figure out good ideas. There you go now. He decided to take. And he took back with the knight on a3, exactly as I've explained. Knight f3 takes on d2, reinforcing the c4 white pawn, and also having that light square diagonal g2, a8. That's a serious stuff. That's a very, very good idea. And Gukesh fought exactly like ourselves. Not mentioning there is another bishop here. So kind of, I don't say black is losing. I don't say that. But what I say is that somehow I feel and I think that maybe white has a bit more leverage, a better position. The bishops are doing a better job for white now than the two black knights of blacks, of course. So I feel like white is doing more promising here. Currently, let's see what's going to happen in the end. But anyway, I'd rather have the whites at this stage. Due to the bishop's X-ring. Looks to me they're going to castle like now. I think the 11th move for... let me see if that's the case indeed. No, I don't think black's going to castle. They may have an issue with the d5 square, right? I don't know what to say. I mean, you can castle when the other guy castles, you know, not to waste any tempi and stuff. Is there a problem with the d5? So let's just make it for all of our friends here. Does black have an issue with the d5? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. But if black castles, let's put it very, very simple. If black castles, white could get rid of the knight on f6. You're gonna have to take back with something. Whatever. Queen, pawn, you name it. I don't know. With something. But then, no, white attacks twice the d5. So that makes black to take with a pawn? Hold on a second. Castle short, bishop takes. Let's say pawn takes. You can't take with a queen, right? Because if you take with a queen, d5 is hanging. Takes, takes, takes. Yeah, but then rook comes here. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind. I think black can castle. Black can castle. Because it's very problematic for white to take on d5. And afterwards, if black gets the rook, a to d8, white is having an issue. There is a problem. So I think black can castle. I think black should castle. And if white takes f6, you take back with what? With the queen, no? I think with the queen. Complicated. It is. Beautiful, anyway. Ali Reza no the back. Rook F1. God, these guys don't move nothing. After Rook Fe1, Ali Reza didn't move absolutely nothing, like nothing. The 12th move. Like some seniors, pensioners players, they just stay like 1 hour per move. Well, that's what they did so far. Rook Fe1 and black didn't move nothing. So we're gonna go Prague Wesley again. Yeah, Queen D6 in the end. Okay, Queen D6. That probably is the most exciting game. I mean, not super exciting, but definitely more exciting than, let's say, Nodi Bek Ali Reza. Way more exciting. Queen D6. If queen takes, bishop takes, 100%. Bishop takes because triple attack here on to E5. Certainly. I'm not sure black going to take though. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean they're going to take. You can still play F6, but it feels weird. I mean, you can. So let's do this again. Queen takes. Bishop must take. Not if. They will. There's no in-between move. Queen takes D6. Bishop takes D6. Triple attack on E5. And then F6. So that's about it. There is no light square bishop and there is no queen. Therefore, I'd say from black's perspective, I don't think F6 is that crazy anymore. F6 and F3 normally could be very problematic. If your opponent still has the bishop, the light square bishop, if they were, or the queen. But since the queens will come out now, if this is the exchange going to happen, then I think black can go F6 in all safety. There is no light square. So the reason for which people say don't move the F pawn is if the other guy still has the queen and the bishop to attack you diagonally. But if that guy is missing and the queen, then I guess you can play F6. You let me know, guys, your thoughts. Maybe I'm wrong or something. But I guess makes sense. And then is it going to be a draw or not? I do not know. But black has some access. Yeah, but then rook plays. There is a bishop after all. Rook takes, bishop takes, and you may move the other rook. Yeah, complicated. Maybe a drawish, but I feel like white is actually having a bit more activity by the looks of it. More active for white. All right, we're going to leave the paint, the green paint on the screen. Let's go Sam and Yandoda. Queen C2. Dude, this is such a weird way to getting the queen where the bishop is. I don't know. It just feels like interesting, but yeah, interesting. I don't know what to say about Queen C2. Why would you do that? Maybe Queen B3? Maybe Queen B3 after all. Queen C2. I mean, you put a queen where the bishop is. What's the... Is he planning on knight H4? Just get rid of the bishop anyway. Maybe. Maybe. Well. MVL Fabi. MVL Fabi. King F. King F. Why King F? I just want to get the rook on the G file now. Okay, theoretically, you move away from this, but okay, fine. Is he planning on King E2, then getting the other rook on E over to the D file? That feels weird. Anyway, it might be King E2 better because it allows the circulation of the rooks on the back rank. And eventually, if you want to get the rook on the G file, that might be beneficial for the white king not to stop your rooks. So practically, King F1 with the intention King C2. And I think it might be the safest spot for the white king. It might be the safest. So you can then decide what you do with the rooks on the back rank of things. Maybe you want to play this kind of stuff. Maybe you want to play the H pawn. You know? Why not? King E2, kind of safe. Bishop takes e3. You're going to take back with the pawn, connecting the two white pawns, which are now doubled. But after bishop takes e3, you're going to connect them together. King to e2, then play h4, h5. Given you've got also a bishop on the light squares, kind of makes sense now. And king e2 and then rooks, see what happens. If you think about attacking, that might be a plan. That might just be a plan. I don't think that's wrong. I don't think that's bad. Yes, sir. Bishop takes, knight takes. Exactly right. Rook c. Things are going to moving on a c file. So black rook on c is perfectly fine. White's done. Oh, and there's another reason. What is the main reason here? Yeah, rook on the c, it's great, but also you want to move away from the bishop. I think we did say that the bishop on g2 is actually very dangerous along the diagonal h1, a8. So I think the best would be move the rook away. Move the rook away. And of course, see what happens on the c. Things are going to be trading. So let's see, probably castle short for both colors, and that's that. Well, it's not simple, but it's an idea. Yeah, rook c, castle short, things like this. Naughty back again, board number 1. Hey, I said knight h4. I absolutely did say knight h4. Of course, knight h4. You want to get rid of this guy, it's just too much. It's too much power. Knight c2. This is too much, man. Haha, getting interesting now. Bishop f5. Let me go back one move. So bishop f5 actually is threatening this. Now that's some serious stuff. That's serious stuff. So what did white came up with? Boom. Now let's take it like this. Let's say, I'm also aware of this, but let's just forget about that diagonal for a second. Let's assume knight c2. Let's just say knight c2. Then knight takes f5. Knight takes f5. Let's say knight takes either rook. I don't know. You choose which rook. Forget about queen takes. If queen takes, one of the two rooks takes and stuff. So knight c2, knight takes f5, knight takes e1, just saying. Then you take g7. So you're gonna give away a knight and the rook for 3 minor pieces. Is that correct? Hello, Mr. American. Yeah, that's a very interesting way to reacting to the bishop. Bishop f5 is a serious thing. You know, because I'm normally like a little bit worried when I see this kind of deployment against myself, I would actually seriously consider some rook ac, like a matter of urgency, like for an urgent thing. You know, rook ac. Am I wrong? Am I missing something? Is rook ac incredibly bad? I mean, you're not going to play this one now. I'm going to take your guy and you take, I'm very happy. I'm very happy. So rook ac1. So c2 is not going to happen anymore. Hey, a rook for 2 minor pieces any day. Any day. That's what I would think, but I'm not a super grandmaster like Nordibek. Knight h4 is a very sharp. Jesus Christ, this is very sharp, man. Hello, Guru Prasad. Very sharp. Knight h4, very sharp. So, again, knight c2, knight takes some rooks, you take g7. The knight is a little bit trapped. Whether black queen takes white queen is irrelevant. Is it? It's not freaking irrelevant. It is very relevant. Wait. Knight c2. Knight takes f5, right? Knight takes c1. Do you take this guy or you take g7? Knight takes g7. Knight is compromised. You can't move out. Yeah, but when you do that, queen's going to take your queen. And when you take back, actually the white knight, the black knight 21 is free to go c2. Hey, Mr. American, thank you very much, brother. Yeah, I did a little bit of an excerpt. I just cut some 50 seconds or something. It was kind of like this, what I'm doing now. Oh, I would have taken g6 99.99. I would have captured on g6 exactly like Nordibek. Nordibek collapsed psychologically because the position was not losing for white. And by the way, he played the blunder after he invested like 15 minutes or more. He played the blunder. I think he was supposed to play knight h4, if I remember, and he didn't play it. He collapsed psychologically. He played some bishop f5. His bishop was on h7. He dropped it on f5. You talking about round number 4. I think maybe I should do just a full video for that game. It was such a beautiful game. But this one now looks very challenging for... Hell, I would play rook c1 here, sorry. Yeah, so psychologically he just cracked. Because he wasn't supposed to lose the position. He wasn't supposed to lose. Fabi executed him because Nordibek messed it up. He was supposed to be a bit more cool, and yeah. But then again, I think our humanity is what is. I mean, in terms of human mind is limited. Knight h4 here. Well, probably rook c1 I would have played here myself, just to make sure. Just to make sure. Knight h4. I'm not so completely fully satisfied. After knight c2, knight takes again. We'll see about that. So knight c2, knight takes f5, knight takes e. Ah, queen takes first. Jesus Christ. Queen takes, rook takes, knight g7. Ah. Yeah, but the knight goes c2 though. It go back on c2. It doesn't look good for white, I think. Did Nordibek blunder it again? I don't know. Maybe I'm short-sighted. I might be missing something. You guys let me know. I might miss something. Looks like if the black knight goes to c2 and then e1, you're able to go to c2 and goodbye. So I don't see the material compensation for this. But then again, maybe also Nordibek relies on the two bishops. And he says he could do this. I mean, that's got to be something when you're having your bishops. That got to be something, right? And Ali Reza played bishop e6, man. He played bishop e6. That's from the real game. Yeah, afterwards we can look at the evaluations and things. Bishop takes b7 attacks. By the way, the rook is gone, so to speak. The rook is freaking gone. This is very sharp now. Very freaking sharp. Now, so the rook can't be saved. Regardless where you move the rook, gonna be taken. It more like psychologically it pains me to part ways with the super active bishops. Those bishops are just killers. Particularly the bishop on the light squares is just so powerful. This is so powerful. And again, yes, bishop c4. If it's compromised, why not just take a pawn in the process? This is actually getting so sharp. Incredibly sharp now. So the rook can't be saved. If it can't be saved, forget about it. Just try to grab some stuff in the meantime. I think there might have been some blunder here hidden. But because we're humans, maybe we didn't spot it. And again, I don't know. Tough to say. Very tough to say. If you take, queen takes, and all of a sudden, after black queen goes, so let me just put some red paint here. Queen d8 goes. Let's assume, and if they take, of course, queen takes straight away. Then we're gonna have this. Still difficult. And after queen to a8, obviously the black rook is gonna move over to d8 where the queen is. So it's just so not simple. It's not. It's not. Dude, I need another coffee or something. Frog Wesley. Queen takes. Well, have to take. Rook C. Okay, rook takes, bishop takes. And then you move this guy with tempo, right? Let's do it again. So rook takes C1. Bishop takes C1. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There's things here. Wait. There is things here. Yeah, but the guy takes, no? You don't have this. Wait. Rook takes, bishop takes, rook C. I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's bad. Yeah, bishop goes back. Well, okay then. Knight takes, pawn takes, and f6 to protect this guy. Difficult. At the beginning, watching how they played in the opening, I would have said actually this game is the sharpest of all the 5 boards happening right now. But now if they keep up with the trading, it's going to get more positional, more and more positional. Whereas board number 1, which started a little bit predictable to some extent, now after the mess that the guys got themselves in, looks like the sharpest game that's happening. I'm talking about Nordibek and Alireza. If this ain't sharp, I don't know what is sharp anymore. This is the sharpest game. This one, board number 1. This is the craziest of them all. Who's taking what where? Who? Who captures what? Yep. Absolutely. Let's see MVL Fabi. Let's see what the seniors do. I mean, they're not that seniors. Hey, I did say the White Rook battery very many times. And I did say that the focus for white is the pawn, the black pawn on d5. This is the focus for white. This guy here on d5. Currently defended by the knight and by the rook, but things gonna get traded. Things gonna get traded if you now erase all the pieces, so to speak. This guy remains as a isolated pawn. So probably white should be moving the king, getting closer to the center and things. Well, we'll see. Rook C now. Interestingly. What the heck does that do on the C file, I wonder? What does it do? I don't know what it does. Can't we just bishop takes, this guy takes, and then play something like this? Or maybe king e2? I don't know. Maybe king e2 and h4. That's another plan. That's just another plan. I think these are very good candidate moves. I'm going to do it again. Knight to d4, I think it's a candidate move. There's nothing wrong. If they take, fine. You're going to take back with the bishop. They take, you're going to take back with the rook, I assume. So king e2, I think is good. Knight d4, I think is good. h4, I think is good. But h4, I don't think is the most necessary move. I don't think is the move with the highest priority now. I think maybe king e2 and knight d4. Okay, Guki and Levon. Hey, this is another very interesting game. b5, of course, b4 threatening b5. So you can't really ignore this stuff. Oh my God. So when do you take and then take? They take with the knight. True. But the knight is the only defender of the bishop on a6. Did you notice that, guys? And then if we do something like this, check, all of a sudden the knight is hanging. Jesus Christ. This is a brilliant move played by Gukesh. I think b4 is a great move. I think b4 is really a great move. Now, what if they take on c4 first? Would be great for white if black actually captures. Because you take, and when they take back, you're going to play check, and I think you just won the game. That's it. You just won the game. But what if black actually takes on c4? You can't make a fork. It doesn't work, man. It doesn't work the fork. But there is another thing. Let's say they take with a pawn. We're still going queen a4. Sorry, but that's a very interesting way to play the position. b3, b4, I think, allows queen to a4, like as soon as black does something. I think this is the stuff. b4 allows queen a4. This is a problem for black. What do you play? How do you move things? This is serious. Queen a4 is a serious threat because of this. So that's exactly one very important thing. And of course, threatens b5. This is, you can't just ignore that. That's an interesting way to play. You would say completely uneventful, but actually this is so aggressive. Gukesh has found some interesting resources here. I like it. So today, round number 8, and my friends, tomorrow is round number 9 and the last one. Well, that is just something. Now, would have to just call it a day now, my very dear friends, ladies and gents. Thanks for the follow, like, subscribe. Check if you want my other videos in the archive, TikTok or YouTube. And we'll see you guys tomorrow eventually. Take care, be good and be wise. Bye.